You look at chart of silver's price and other war situations, you'll find actually the trend is counterintuitive. You get in the war cycle and you actually see the silver price go down for a while, and then you can see it bounce back. The reason is not an absolute, but the best determination I think is valid. In January of 2026, silver went up about 70% in a month. I mean, how many times have you and I done, interviews together and, silver moved, 10% for the year or 20% for the year. And now we're seeing 70%. So it was overdone for a while. It's recaptured its bullish trend. And I think we're going to go up again. But I also think we have consolidation to work off the large increase that we've seen. And I'm pretty convinced we're going to see a sideways action in a trading range for both gold and silver for probably 6 weeks or thereabouts. Could go longer than that.
Silver's price behavior during geopolitical tensions often defies expectations. As noted by David Morgan, silver can initially decline during war cycles before rebounding strongly. After surging nearly 70% in a single month in early 2026, the market became overextended, making a correction and consolidation phase inevitable. Rather than signaling weakness, this sideways movement reflects a healthy reset, allowing the market to absorb gains and rebuild momentum. Over the next 6 weeks or more, gold and silver are likely to trade within a range before resuming their upward trajectory, supported by strong fundamentals and continued investor demand for hard assets. Now, we present the clips from David Morgan's interview. Before we continue to discuss this, please subscribe to our channel and activate the bell icon for timely updates. Thank you, and enjoy the video.
I think that gold hit the 200-day moving average and bounced off it pretty strongly. And gold is still going to lead this market, although silver did catch up quite a bit last year where, gold was at the $3,500 level and silver hadn't done anything. And then after the summer, it started to really catch up to gold. We saw the gold-silver ratio go from, I forget the exact numbers, but from something like 100 down to 60. And we're in the mid-60s right now. I said weeks ago that I saw a trading range between 70 and 90, which is a big spread. It looks like it's going to be more like 70 to 80. These are round numbers, but I also use OCO, on close only. I'm not trying to get too deep in the weeds here, but the way I've traded them, used to trade a lot more frequently than I do now. But at that time, I was taught the intraday moves are important, but it's on the close, OCO, on close only, that you really want the data. And I've integrated that. So if you go to OCO, you'll find that 70 number is pretty valid. You'll see those 60 prints during the day on the close. Most of them are above 70, not all of them. But when you're doing a channel formation, it's not a perfect up and down in a perfect range. It's, again, an art form more than a strict, principled math formula. But nonetheless, you get a pretty good feel for it. So I think we're doing exactly what I would expect at this time in the market. And unfortunately, in my opinion, the people that were late to the party or maybe bought it at 50 and watched it go to 100 and didn't get out, or people that are on leverage, or people that expect silver to, make up for all the mistakes they made in other investment arenas and what have you, are expecting too much. So the market going sideways will wear them out. And they'll say, you know what, I bought silver, cost me this much, the spread is this much, I'm kind of just breaking even. I've held it for, 4 months, I'm tired of it, I don't like it, I'm going to get out. And those people, the weak hands, as we call them, leave the market. And once that happens, I shouldn't laugh, but I've been there, done that. And that, it's not something you can do all the time, but when the advantage is there, it's 100 to 1. And just think about the people who did that were maybe all silver or too much silver, however you want to frame it. And it went from 100 to 1 to 50 to 1. All of a sudden, they doubled their gold position. Of course, there's, fees and all that. So it's not exactly double, but in theory, it's double. And, gold's a lot easier to, stack. And, it's a lot smaller volume. And I always have taught that you should have both. They really serve different purposes. And silver, as we all know, is just much more volatile. But to make that trade when, you're kind of tempted to buy gold and it's getting all the news headlines and the institutions are buying gold and central banks are buying gold and gold, gold, gold. But you look at that ratio, man, I'm going to buy silver because I want cheap gold. And you buy it 100 to 1, then it gets to 50 pretty quickly when it moved. And you swap that, you feel pretty happy. You bought gold basically at half price.
Gold continues to lead the precious metals market, recently bouncing strongly from its 200-day moving average, reinforcing bullish momentum. Meanwhile, silver has narrowed the gap, driving the gold-silver ratio down from around 100 to the mid-60s. Current price action suggests a consolidation range between 70 and 80, a natural pause after rapid gains. This sideways movement often shakes out weak hands while stronger investors accumulate. Historically, such phases build the foundation for the next rally. As institutional demand favors gold, savvy investors monitor the ratio closely, using silver as a strategic entry to gain leveraged exposure before the next major breakout in precious metals. Let's get back to the interview.
If you go back and look at, some of my earlier work, I have made the proposition that at some point where there's a very strong demand that might not be met or delayed or that type of thing. And we have already seen that occur a few times. Andy Sheckman of Miles Franklin has talked about a point in the retail market where he could basically not find any silver for retail products, and that I turned him on to an outfit that was in the industrial side called Pyromet. And Pyromet was making 100-ounce bars that were not the best looking bars ever, but that was, I think, if I recall correctly, about all he could source for a while as far as silver product. Now, that subsided over time. But we've also seen on the commercial bar side, I remember, I think it was the second tranche that Sprott Asset Management bought for the PSLV. And if I recall correctly, it was 22 million ounces, I believe correctly. And the silver was delayed, not by a lot, by a few weeks. But nonetheless, the demand delivery date was not met. A lot of it was, but there was still, I forget how much, 5% or so that had not met the delivery date. They came in, and so I got pretty excited. They're very short on commercial bars, which is really the silver market. Retail is very important, but it's a derivatives market based on commercial bars. So that's what I focus on. I focus on everything, but that's the one to really see what would occur as far as a quick movement or a quick adjustment in price. Because if you couldn't deliver a 1,000-ounce bar, that would really throw a wrench into the gears, so to speak. So I thought, that's it. Well, a year or two goes by and they have another tranche, which was, I think, greater than that one. And, they delivered it early. So, the silver market does ebb and flow. And there is always, more mining, more recycling. And sometimes the market is very tight and sometimes the market isn't so tight. So not trying to be too long-winded, Elijah, the overall trend is very clear. We're using up more than we're mining. We're using up more than we can recycle. So somewhere down the road, that's going to occur to a point where it's going to be very tough to meet the demand without a big increase in price and someone willing to sell silver, for fiat. And that's what we've already seen. We saw that in January. And I think that that we're going to see it again. And I think the next time that we see it, we could, and not would, but could get in a situation where we get information, which you've already seen before out of the LBMA, that they're down to this much and they're going to hold deliveries off by 6 weeks because they can't meet the demand in that amount of time. So it's a very dynamic market. It does ebb and flow, but the dynamics, the trends are all in favor of silver investment.
The global commodities market is signaling a major shift as silver demand begins to outpace supply. Analysts like David Morgan highlight tightening inventories and delayed deliveries as early warning signs of a potential supply crunch. Recent market activity shows that silver demand, both retail and industrial, is rising faster than mining and recycling can sustain. Temporary shortages and delayed shipments indicate structural stress within the system. As deficits continue to grow, experts believe silver prices could surge significantly. Investors are closely watching these trends, as a sustained imbalance may trigger explosive upside in the silver market. Share your thoughts on his analysis in the comment section below. If you find this video informative, please support us by turning on notifications to stay informed about our latest videos. See you in the following video. Thanks for watching.